Hey everyone, how's it going? So what we have done a couple videos so far is basically talk about how to create a course outline, how to create an assignment, how to research in ChatGPT. But today, or at least in this video, we're going to create a rubric. Now we're just going to test it out. I have not done this yet. And basically continue with the assignment we created, which was basically a website planning report. And ChatGPT made it, went through it, talked about how to incorporate chat in it. Now it gave a little bit of a grading criteria originally when it talked about the outline, but we're going to try to do it and follow a rubric more in line with what we're looking for. So one of the key things with chat is we can say create a rubric for us. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to say create a rubric for me. Now, one of the key things is when we say rubric, we don't know the context of what a rubric is to chat. Meaning a rubric to us might be a scale of 1 to 5 with lots of descriptions, definitions about each piece and so on. So if I say create a rubric for me, chat is just going to create something it thinks is right. And let's just see what it creates. So let's scroll down here and see what kind of rubric it creates for me. So it obviously remembers it's connected to the assignment, and it says wedding website plan rubric, criteria, purpose of the website, planning structure, design functionality, content creation. It's not bad, actually. It's not perfect. It does exemplary, satisfactory, needs improvement, and it goes with criteria, description, it talks about each one. So you could basically put in these definitions. So let's just, for argument's sake, say now put the definitions in each table. What would that be called? Is that a table category? I want it to go inside of each of these where explains what it is. Let's say put up the definition in each table row, and let's see what it does. Because I like the definitions, but I would want there we go. Okay, so I want those criteria inside of the table rows. Now, obviously, what it did was it didn't give it did give a number. There you go. So technically, it did what I was looking for. And wow, I didn't expect that. Okay, so we just asked chat to make a rubric, and it gave us a rubric. And basically, that rubric was this. And basically, it remembered. So take one step back here. When you're in ChatGPT, think of this as a conversation. Anything you say in this conversation is a focal point to focus chat's ideas, topics, content. It still has all of its data outside, its billions of data points and information, but then this conversation is the focal point, the topic, the context with which you want information. So this conversation is a continual conversation that it will pull from and remember for the most part. So it remembered we created a website, we created a plan here a while ago. We created this, chat created this, basically a plan, a website plan report incorporating ChatGPT into it. And then we talked about a course outline, we talked about course learning objectives, how it all works, we did it all together. Then I just said create a rubric, and it created a rubric, it remembered what the elements were, and created a basic rubric. And then I was like, well, I want to have this information inside each section, not just a number, but students can understand what it is. So then I just said, now put the definitions in each table row. Well, I left it open-ended, and chat actually went through and defined, for the purpose of a website, what exemplary looks like, and what satisfactory looks like, and what needs improvement looks like, and gave the points. And it's doing that for the whole rubric. This is an interesting thing. One of the key things chat does is it has a limit on how much output it will give you. You can continue though, but you gotta know this. So see how it did SEO strategy, and then it stopped at the satisfactory. So what you can say in this case is continue from exactly where you left off, and then it should continue from that specific spot. Now it's not in the same format, but it's going to give us what it was, which means we can put it in after and reposition and replace it. Not perfect, not a perfect solution, but it is giving you the other information for the table you would have had there. Definitely not bad. Now, we can go one step further. So this table, or this rubric it's giving us, is a three category rubric, right? 3 levels. It did all the information. I didn't even tell it to do that. It just automatically did that. So if I was going to use this rubric, I would then just make sure that represents exemplary, that represents satisfactory, and that represents needs improvement. And obviously you would look at how your course content needs to be built. You look at the different terminology context with your course developer, course designer, if you have one, and say what terminology needs to be in here, and does this best describe it? So this is a 3 criteria, 3 column, 3 level rubric. And I'm usually working with a 5 level rubric. 5 level rubric. Should I be? I don't know. Maybe it should be 3. But one of the great things you can do with chat is showing what you're looking for, showing what you want, showing an example. So I'm going to actually copy from my rubric, my actual rubric for web design, and say, here is an example rubric. Can you create, or can you adjust this rubric for the website plan above, and see what it does. So now it's going to create a rubric for the specific. It's doing it 5 levels. It doesn't look perfect. It's limited in the confine, but you can get the content out. Now, obviously, it's going to limit and not be able to finish the output. I guarantee that. But you get the idea. So what that means is I can say, here's a rubric, and now create for me the organizational piece and create for me the quality piece. You can get the output there. But chat's creating the whole rubric for me based off of my existing example, which is this. Based off my example, I just copy and pasted it in. And you notice here it's in text format. It's in the whole text format. And it's just taking it and saying, great, oh, there are 5 levels, it understands, and chat knows. And this is ChatGPT 3, not ChatGPT 4. ChatGPT 4 has been out for a week or 2, meaning out to the public. It's been around for 7 months. They developed it for about 7 or 8 months ago. They finished it, but it's been out to the public at the time of this recording, being March 28th, for about a week. But basically, it is producing, it got to the 4th criteria and then stopped, but it didn't produce the use of information ethically section, which it's not that it had any bias to that, but I could then say, hey, oh, you missed this one. I can say, oh, you missed the last section. Please finish. Please do that too. And we'll see what it does. Oh, my apologies. Here you go. Use of information ethically. So now it's going to do the 5 criteria for that. Now, obviously, it doesn't look the same way, but it is the right content. They just divided it up with a line or a space. But basically, this is how you can work or create a rubric with ChatGPT. Now, obviously, it's not perfect, but you can get some insight. Meaning, if I was to use this, which I think I will, I'll make sure that I'll talk to my course planner and our content specialists who talk about course design and content design, and say what kind of words need to be in there, and basically then utilize ChatGPT to help me modify and clean up my rubrics. One of the key things we can think of here is, one of the areas I look at all the time is my rubric properly assessing what I'm doing? Is it clear? Is it straightforward? Is it easy to understand? And 5 levels might not be. Maybe I need 4 levels, or maybe 3 is fine. But ChatGPT is a tool that we can start to assess and modify and look at different ways to look at our rubrics. If you have them, which you probably will, for your classes, and just for 1, create it from scratch, or 2, take what you've got and modify it, or improve it, or simplify it, or clean it up, or whatever it is. And it's really just asking. So for example, let's try that. Let's just say, can you take my rubric and modify it to be 3 levels? And then it's going to go through and adjust my rubric based off what it thinks to be 3 levels. So it's going to go through and say high level. It's just called high, medium, low, which could be exemplary, satisfactory, below average, or whatever. You can use the terminology. You can even tell chat, I want these to be the names, the criteria. And you can even say, hey, I don't want it in a table format. I want it in a point format. So you can just copy and paste it later on. But we can now go through and then actually modify this. We could even go to the extent of saying, this is for a website plan we created, but let's just say you had a bit of content, and let's say a specific word was the wrong word. Let's say it used a certain word every time. Maybe I'll do this right now. All right, so this is for a website plan, and let's just, for argument's sake, say the word website's the wrong word. Let's just say it should be chicken. So bad example, but I'm going to show you we should be able to replace every example of the word chicken inside of this, meaning you would never do this for web design, but let's just say there's a different word you want removed, or you've got a case study, or you've got something where you want to remove a specific word and rephrase it. So let's just try this. So this is the original, this is the new rubric. It has adjusted it. I said, I want to replace the word website. Actually, it's web design. It's website with the word chicken. Oh. Please remove and replace it in the rubric. Let's see what it does. Oh man, typing, not my strong suit. Also on in person. And also, you don't have to be perfect. Oh, it gave me an error. Interesting. I've never had that before. Let's regenerate a response and see what it does. Only one message at a time. I have not experienced that before. So only one message at a time. I did ask one message. And then it gave me this error. So I'm going to just copy this question. I'm going to hit refresh, and it's hopefully just going to reset it. And I'm just going to now replace and paste my question. So I don't know what happened. The error was chat just gave me an error and said you can't do anything. So I just hit refresh. It refreshed the page, still kept the information. And I basically now have it where I'm just going to put the question and see what it does. And now it's replacing the word... it's replacing the word website with chicken. So organization presents a chicken plan that is well organized and so on. You can do a lot of fun with this. Or think too, like we haven't gone through this concept, but we can look at if you're modifying assignments or case studies or different things where every term you want to modify a specific wording or a specific phrase or specific data to keep it current so students have new information. Well, you can put the old case study in or the old content and say, every place where this is represented, change this. Every place where this data does this, I want to modify it to this. And it's going to simply and easily do that for you. So I'm going to show a bunch of videos on that, on how to repurpose old assignments and content to keep it current so we keep students on their toes and don't allow things like ChatGPT to impact us. Last thing I'll mention here is, what if you're like, well, we've just used the data, does Chat have access to it? And it doesn't. The data, to my understanding, with what I've read and with what's been explained, ChatGPT has a conversation with us, and that data doesn't go anywhere. When we delete that conversation, it's gone. It's gone. It's not logged in a database or anything. If it is used, it's not used for its purposes. It's used to understand the conversation, improve its linguistic and models, so it does a better job. But holistically, I would be safe with the content. You shouldn't be any problems. And I did a whole video on data privacy and thinking through ChatGPT, so watch that video. But there are lots of applications with this, of how we can change and modify words and structures and sentences quite easily with chat. So something to think of there. I'm going to show you more videos on how to use this tool and just create amazing content for us in class, and as a great tool for us as educators. So thank you so much for watching and listening, and hopefully you guys learned some new things, and I'll see you in the next video.